Hello, and welcome to another episode of Story Time with Writer's Playground. Thanks for joining us. My name is Merrick Humbert.
And I am Mariana Davila.
And we are your hosts. We have a really beautiful story for you today. We're looking forward to getting into that. Our 11th Playground Challenge has come to an end, so we've been able to slow down a bit and take a moment to catch our breath. We were even able to go to the movie theater for the first time since our son was born, so that was really nice. We used to go all the time.
Yeah, that was fun. We saw Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein.
And you actually read Mary Shelley's book before we went, right?
Yeah, I finally got around to reading Frankenstein, which I don't know why I have never done before. I enjoyed both the book and the film, although I was a bit surprised at how much of the story Del Toro actually changed. Even though it wasn't my favorite movie by Del Toro, I think it still had lots of virtues. The acting was great, the costumes, cinematography, and well, I love him and will always support him. In Mexico, we have this saying that has been going around for a few years where we keep wishing that he was our president. I honestly would love to meet him. He's such a talented man and looks like a really down-to-earth person. I want him to be my friend. Anyway, I know Netflix is doing a limited release on movie theaters, but I encourage you to go see it on the big screen if you have the chance.
Yeah, it was really nice to just get out of the house, just the two of us, and I completely agree. I thought the movie was good, not great, but visually it was beautiful, and the acting was great. It was just a lot of fun. What else is going on?
We have also set the dates for our next competition, so our 12th Playground Challenge will take place from January 8th to the 18th. So we will send out the prompts on that Thursday, January 8th, and all the participants will have those 10 days to write your story. We are looking forward to that, and we will have the website updated and registration open very soon. And we will make that announcement when we do.
That's right. As for today, Mariana will be reading Holding Pattern by Corrie Haldane, which won second place in our competition that just ended, our 11th Playground Challenge. Corrie Haldane is an award-winning short fiction writer whose work has appeared in numerous online and print publications, including anthologies Forgetting Something and the upcoming Frady Cat Quarterly, Volume 7, as well as online with Cosmic Roots and Eldritch Shores, The Quiet Ones, Short Edition, and others. She lives in Ontario, Canada, and finds inspiration in nature, bubble baths, and carefully curated playlists. You can find her online at CorrieHaldane.com, so we would encourage you to check out her website. And the tagline for her piece today is, when 14-year-old Ivy learns she's moving, she retreats to her childhood treehouse to work through her complicated feelings about her mom, her dad, and what it means to let go. Enjoy!
Holding Pattern by Corrie Haldane. Ivy, 14 years old. I used to love puzzle books when I was a little girl. I could spend hours on dot-to-dots, word searches, and mazes. But my favorites were What's Wrong with These Picture Puzzles. I like finding the things that didn't fit. Now, standing at the front window, I'm playing it again. Only this time, the answer makes my stomach hurt. The view is mostly the same as it always is. Our front yard where I turn about 1,000 cartwheels, our quiet, dead-end street where I learned to ride a bike, and all my neighbors' houses line up in a neat and tidy row. But there's a for sale sign planted in the middle of our lawn, and that is absolutely 100% wrong. Mom comes up behind me, puts a hand on my arm. I shrug it off. She sighs. It's really not the end of the world, sweetheart. Typical mom, completely clueless about how I feel and what I want. She never even asked me what I thought about her taking a new job and moving us halfway across the country. She just decided, then told me when it was too late to change her mind. It's the end of my world, I mutter. She laughs. Oh, Ivy, don't be so dramatic. Blood rushes loud in my ears and hot tears prickle in my eyes. I whirl around to face her. Dramatic? Everything is here, Mom. What about my friends? You got a cell phone. You can keep in touch, she says. Plus, you make new friends. Like texting someone a zillion miles away is somehow just as good as seeing them every day at school. Like making new friends is easy. I've known Tara and Lee since kindergarten. What about my treehouse? I ask. Mom frowns, hits me with her quit giving me a hard time look. Your treehouse? You don't even go up there anymore. But I could, I said. If I wanted to, I could. Mom shakes her head. Come on, Ivy. You're 14. I need you to act like it, okay? It's a big change for me too. And... No, I say, cutting her off. You do not get to make this about you. You're the one who decided to wreck everything, not me. I push past her, cross the living room, and fling open the front door. Outside, I pause to catch my breath, to wait for my heart to slow down and the roaring in my ears to fade away. Then I head around to the backyard and my treehouse. Ivy, 8 years old. Sometimes Mom and Dad's arguments were shouting matches 2 floors away. Sometimes there were loud whispers in the next room. And sometimes they were just sharp, stabby looks across the dinner table. It didn't matter which it was, though. I heard the same thing no matter what. I hate you. I despise you. I don't want to be anywhere near you. The latest argument I wasn't supposed to hear had something to do with whether Dad intended to finish building the garden shed he started 3 months ago. Quit nagging, Claire, Dad said. I've been tied up with work. Work? Mom snapped. You mean those once in a blue moon handyman gigs since you got fired? Or the time you devote to getting shit-faced every afternoon? I didn't wait to hear how the fight turned out. I slipped out the back door and crossed the yard to my treehouse. The rope ladder bounced and swayed as I climbed, making the butterflies in my stomach flap and flutter. I ignored them, just like always, racing up as fast as a monkey and pulling myself through the trapdoor when I got to the top. Inside, it was peaceful. Mine. The curtain that hung over the window fluttered in the breeze, and a dog barked in the distance, and somebody was mowing their lawn, and everything else felt far, far away. I grabbed the secret garden off the bookshelf, flopped into my beanbag chair, and began to read. Ivy, 14 years old. The rope ladder still feels sturdy beneath me, and when I climb through the trapdoor, the wooden boards are still solid, too. Dad built everything to last. It takes longer, he told me, but good things are worth the wait. My beanbag chair is long gone. Mice got into it one winter and chewed it up, but the faded curtain still hangs over the window, and the bookshelf still holds the tattered paperbacks, shiny rocks, and other random stuff I collected when I was a little kid. It's smaller inside than I remember. The corners are cobwebby and everything's covered in dust. But being up here still makes me feel better. Then I remember the sign on the lawn. The move. I'll be leaving all of this behind. Well, not all of it, I mutter, glancing back at the shelf. Guess I need to pack this stuff up. The books are like old friends. Charlotte's Web and The Bridge to Terabithia. And my favorite, The Secret Garden. The treasures make me smile, too. Pretty stones, a crow feather, my lucky penny, and a hunk of amber, a gift from Dad. Ivy, 6 years old. Got a present for you, Ivy, Dad said. Close your eyes. I scrunched my eyes closed tight and stuck out my hand. What is it, Dad? He laughed. Quit bouncing for a second and I'll give it to you. I forced my feet to be still, barely let myself breathe. Finally, Dad dropped something into my hand and my eyes popped open. A rock? It's amber, Dad said. And see here, there's a little insect suspended in there. Pretty cool, huh? While I looked closely at the amber and the tiny bug, Dad told me about the science of it. How bugs can get stuck in sticky sweet tree sap, and then after a long, long time, the sap gets hard and turns into amber with the bug frozen inside. What kind of bug is it, Dad? I asked. Dad took it from me, studied it carefully, turning it this way and that. The amber glowed like a tiny sun when he held it up to the light. Doodlebug, I think, he said, then handed it back to me. Very rare. Ivy, 14 years old. I shake my head, remembering how stupid I'd been. I believed so many dumb things back then. I believed the little insect trapped in the amber really was a doodle bug. I believed that family meant a mom and a dad and a kid. I believed in that. I stick the amber in my pocket and turn back to the shelf, poking through the bits and pieces of ivy past. There's an old diary, the kind with a little lock, but there's no sign of the key. I probably lost it years ago. Then it hits me. I didn't lose it. I hid it. Smiling, I cross to the window, shift aside the milk crate that doubles as storage and seat, and pry up the stubby floorboard in the corner. My secret cubby. This is where I kept my best treasures and most important things. The space isn't very big, so there isn't much. A mood ring that I wore non-stop when I was 11, even though it turned my finger green. A postcard from Tara, from when her family went to Hawaii. A first place ribbon from a track meet, and of course the key to my diary. I empty the cubby and something catches in the corner. It's an old piece of paper, folded small, its edges curled and yellowed. I pull it out and carefully smooth it flat. It's a picture that Dad drew for me. A little cartoon bug with long hair and a purse. Underneath he'd printed, "A doodle bug for my doodle bug. Love, Dad." Ivy, 5 years old. Dad had been working on the treehouse forever, at least a month anyway. But when I asked him again if it was almost ready, he finally said that it was. "Just a few finishing touches," he told me, "and you're going to help." He held up a kid-sized tool belt that looked just like his. "Every good carpenter needs one of those," he said when he buckled it around my waist. Mom laughed, then kissed him on the mouth. "You know, Jim," she said, "you're the best one in town." He climbed up the rope ladder, then disappeared inside. After a minute, he popped his head back out of the trapdoor. "Well, are you coming up, or what?" I started to climb, slow and careful. The thick rope scratched my bare legs, and I didn't like the way the ladder wobbled every time I moved. Halfway up, I peeked down at Mom. She had a frown line between her eyes, but she smiled when she saw me looking. "You're almost there, sweetheart," she said. The ground looked far away. My hands were sweaty and my legs felt funny. Tears prickled in my eyes. "I'm scared," I said. "Look at me, Ivy. Look up here," Dad called. I turned my head and looked. "Just a couple more steps," he said. "You can do it, kiddo. You've got to, because I need my assistant up here if I'm going to finish this job." I took a big breath and kept climbing. When I got to the top, Dad helped me through the trapdoor. "So, what do you think?" he asked. I turned in a slow circle, trying to look at everything all at once. There was a window with a curtain we picked out together, blue with tiny stars. A shelf with my name burned into it, and a beanbag chair in the corner. It smelled like sawdust and new wood and green leaves. "It's perfect," I whispered. "Wait, there's more." He crouched near the corner and pried up a stubby floorboard. "Secret compartment." I bent down to look. "Like for treasure?" "For whatever you want, kiddo." Dad put the board back down, then slid a milk crate over top. He winked at me. I grinned. He pointed out a couple nails that needed extra hammering and helped me knock them flat with my little hammer. "I think it's done," he said after we finished the last one. "Should we invite your mom up?" I clapped my hands. "Yes, let's show her." Dad lifted the curtain and stuck his head out the window. "Hey, Claire, it's all done. Come on up for the grand tour." "Maybe later," Mom said. "I don't think that thing is big enough for 3. "Suit yourself," Dad called. Then he turned to me, smiled, and whispered, "Mom's afraid of heights." I giggled, like we were sharing a secret. Ivy, 14 years old. I unlocked the diary, flipped to a random page, and started reading. It's from the year I turned 11. My handwriting has improved since then, and so has my spelling. But one thing hasn't changed. I'm still mad at Mom. "Dear Diary, I'm going to ask Dad if I can come and live with him. Mom nags me all the time about stuff. Nothing I do is ever good enough." And then a few pages later. "Dear Diary, Mom said I get to spend the night at Dad's on Saturday. I can't wait. I can stand it here. I can stand her." I hated Mom so much back then, sure that it was her fault Dad didn't live with us anymore. "Dear Diary, I slept over at Dad's. His whole apartment is just one room. It's really cool. We stayed up late watching movies and we slept in sleeping bags on the floor. It was the best night ever. Too bad I have to come back here. There were a few sleepovers with Dad in that tiny one-room apartment, but not many, and they got further and further apart. Dear Diary, I asked Mom when I can go to Dad's next. She got mad at me and said she didn't know and that she doesn't organize his social calendar. The back half of the book is blank. Apparently, I gave up on keeping a diary in the middle of August. I flipped back to my final entry. Ivy, 11 years old. I sprawled out in the grass underneath my treehouse. Dad sat down beside me. Are you coming home? I asked him. He coughed, cleared his throat. No, Doodlebug, just visiting. Oh, I said. We normally visit at your place. Dad peeked through the grass like he was looking for something and didn't answer. I drew in a dirt patch with a stick, a heart, a star, my initials, IF. I'm kinda between jobs at the moment, kiddo, Dad said finally. He ran a shaky hand through his hair, shrugged. Had to move to cut down on expenses. I sat up, looked at him. Move where? Don't worry about me, okay? I've been crashing on a buddy's couch. It's just until I get back on my feet again. His eyes looked red and puffy, like maybe he'd been crying. His face had more lines than it used to, and he needed a shave. But he smiled at me, and when he said he'd see me again soon, I believed him. Ivy, 14 years old. My cell buzzes in my pocket. I pull it out, check the screen. A text from Mom. I'm sorry. Can we talk? Ignoring the guilt, I flick the notification away. Mom gave me the phone for my 12th birthday. She saw it as a way to keep tabs on me. I saw it as my opportunity to track down Dad. I've called his number 100 times. We're sorry. The number you're trying to reach is not in service. The recorded voice sounds bored. Like an out-of-service number is no big deal. Like Dad's disappear all the time. I know Mom tried to find him. I overheard her calling around a few times. I'm looking for James Fisher. Yes, Jim, that's right. Have you seen him? Nobody ever said they had. It's starting to get dark. I should go back inside soon, but I'm not ready to leave, so I close my eyes and listen to the crickets chirping for a while. After a few minutes, they go quiet. Then Mom's voice calls from beneath me. Ivy, you up there? Yeah, I'm here, I reply. It's quiet for so long that I start to wonder if she went back inside. But then the ropes creak and Mom's huffing and puffing like the little engine that could. She's climbing up the ladder. She pokes her head through the trapdoor, sees me, and smiles. Hi, honey, she says. Mind if I join you? She climbs the rest of the way in without waiting for me to answer. Looks around, then perches on the milk crate. Nice place you got here, she says. I thought you were afraid of heights. I am, Mom says, grinning. But getting up here was the easy part. You might have to chop the tree down to get me out. It's so ridiculous that I laugh, even though I'm still mad at her. She comes and sits beside me on the floor, sliding an arm around my shoulders. I let her this time, even though my body feels stiff and awkward. We can build you a new treehouse, sweetheart, if it's important to you. I'll make sure you have 10 treehouses. I just want you to be happy. I want this one. This treehouse is what will make me happy. I know I sound like a little kid, but I don't care. Mom pulls on her finger, cracking her knuckles, one by one. She does that when she's thinking hard. I hold my breath, waiting. Maybe she's changed her mind. You want this one because your dad made it for you. It's not a question. I look around, at the dusty books, the faded curtain, all of it. Everything is full of memories, but it's not that. If we move away, how will he find us? I ask at last. Oh, sweetheart. Mom pulls me close and squeezes. I taste tears in the back of my throat and blink hard. Your dad, he's not well, she says quietly. He's been struggling for a long time, with his mind, with alcohol. He's not in a good place right now. He loves you. I know he does, but... She trails off. It's almost completely dark now, and I'm glad that she can see my face. Because if she could, she'd know I still want to believe. That I still try his number sometimes. That I haven't stopped hoping. I swap a hand across my eyes. What if he... No, her voice is gentle but firm. We can live in limbo forever, sweetheart. We've been stuck in a holding pattern for a while now, but it's time to move forward. And if he wants to find us, he can. I'll leave our number and new address with all the neighbors. I lay my head on her shoulder. Neither of us says anything for a while. We just sit and listen to the crickets. I know it's a big change. All I'm asking is for you to keep an open mind, Mom says at last. Give it a chance. Can you do that? I want to say no. I want to say that I wish everything could stay the same. But deep down, I know that it can. Things change and I'm going to have to change along with them. I'll try, I say. Thank you. She kisses the top of my head, then pushes herself up. Maybe it'll be easier to get down now that it's too dark to see the ground. You coming? I'll be there soon, I say. She squeezes my hand, then lowers herself through the trapdoor. When she's gone, I switch on my phone's flashlight. I tear out a blank page from my old diary, find a pencil, and print myself number in slow, careful letters. Call me, I write underneath. Love, your doodlebug. I stare at the words for a second. Then I erase your doodlebug and write Love Ivy instead. I wrap the paper around the chunk of amber, tuck it into the secret cubby, and climb down from the treehouse for the last time.
That was Holding Pattern by Corrie Haldane. What a great piece. I love how Corrie sets up the conflict of the story right away. I immediately have empathy for this character as we see that she is upset about having to move from the home that she has always known. I feel like this is a relatable situation for pretty much everyone because it's not just about having to move as a 14-year-old, but it's about moving on in general. Pretty much every time that I've moved in my life, it can be an exciting thing, whether it's getting your own apartment for the first time with a friend, going away to college, moving cities. No matter the circumstance, even if it's something like that, which is exciting, there's a sadness to what you are moving on from, a part of your life that is lost and that you will never get back. It's time lost. It's getting older. It's memories. You will never be a child again, and the magic and innocence that comes with it is gone forever. It's sad, and I thought Corrie did an excellent job capturing that and giving us the specific details about this character, Ivy, and what she has been going through.
Yeah, this story stood out to me right away. It has such an emotional impact. I love how it shifts through time and we get to experience Ivy's thoughts and emotions as she grows up. It is great how she structured the story, giving us scenes from different moments in her life and having the interconnecting thread being the treehouse. It works really well how she uses present tense for the current moment in the story when Ivy is 14 and then past tense for the scenes that happened when she was younger, literally in the past. That was very well crafted. I found it very easy to empathize with her from the very beginning as we find out that she's moving from her hometown and childhood home and how she fears losing all her cherished memories and especially those she shared with her father. I thought that one of the main strengths of the piece is how Corrie was able to build multidimensional and complex characters, particularly regarding Ivy's father. Despite the fact that he's a flawed individual and absent from Ivy's life at the present moment, she managed to convey how he was a kind man and clearly loves Ivy. This is what makes the piece so emotionally impactful for me. Creating empathy for a character that no longer fits the definition of, quote, good father is sometimes hard to do, and yet she really succeeds in doing so.
Yeah, I agree. I also love the complexity that we see in the character of the father and in her parents' relationship. It is great how we see them portrayed as hating each other, but then how we also get the scene in which we see how they once really loved one another. One common critique that we have for other pieces that we get is that the characters and their relationships can feel one-dimensional, specifically when it comes to a dysfunctional family. We get a lot of portrayals of a troubled childhood with an abusive or problematic parent, and the majority of the time it feels very stereotypical and pretty much like a caricature of an abusive partner or parent. They drink, they do drugs, and they're just one-dimensionally horrible. And we understand that people like this exist, and that's why there is this archetype. But when developing a character like this, it is much stronger depiction if you can make that character well-rounded and give them some depth, People have good moments, bad moments. People are happy sometimes. They have interests and things they like to do. They're angry sometimes, and there are reasons for it, even if those reasons are unreasonable or extreme. There's a reason that those relationships began in the first place. And, anyways, to bring it back to this story, I just love how we saw the portrayal of Ivy's mother and her father being loving of one another, as well as how we get the details about her feeling as though they hated one another, because so often we just see one side.
Yeah, definitely. Another thing I thought was well accomplished is a relationship between Ivy and her mother. It is incredibly complex being the parent who is always present, who needs to discipline and sometimes be the bad guy. So I thought it was really believable how Ivy resents her and yearns to spend the afternoons with her father, who goes easy on her because he's too busy trying to fix his own life.
Yeah, I completely agree with that as well. I love how she uses the diary entries to give us the details about how she hated her mother, the one parent who was always there for her and who offered her stability. This just felt very authentic to me. She sort of romanticizes her father and how she doesn't really understand the instability and she can't really see the situation for what it is. She ends up villainizing her mother because her mother is the one who's always there. She is the one who has to implement and enforce rules and order, and as a child, that is contrasted with her father coming in sporadically for fun and good times. And that freedom and lack of structure is more appealing to a child. So that is what makes the arc of the story so excellent, I thought. At one point she says, "I know I'm acting like a kid, but I don't care." And then at the end of the piece, we see her cross out her nickname, Doodlebug, and write her real name, which I thought was a wonderful use of symbolism, showing us how she is growing up. She is moving past that childishness, and that growth is great because it's what we all must do, and that is what her character must do. But it is also heartbreaking in a way because it is a loss of innocence. It's a loss of that stage in life, one step closer to death to get real morbid about it. And of course, we also just really feel for her because she wants a relationship with her father and she doesn't have one.
Yeah. All in all, I thought it was a well-rounded piece. I found the ending very moving as well. It was touching when Ivy's mother puts her fear of heights aside to be close to Ivy because she knows that she's struggling with the whole change of life she's about to experience. This was a fantastic way to showcase all the love and care that she has towards her daughter. It was also very sweet how Ivy leaves that one final note you mentioned hidden inside the treehouse for her father to find. The fact that her hope never wanes and how she refuses to give up on him was really heartwarming, I thought.
Yeah, and hopefully he will be able to deal with his issues and they will be able to rebuild their relationship at some point in the future. You never know. But yeah, it's a really beautiful piece. For the prompts, Corrie chose a carpenter for the character, a treehouse for the setting, and everyone had to include a piece of amber with something derived from life inside of it. And remember to check out Corrie's website, CorrieHaldane.com, and that information will also be in the description wherever you're listening to this.
Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Storytime with Writers Playground. If you haven't already, go back and listen to our other episodes. We have some excellent pieces that we have shared. Like, follow, whatever you can do to show some support is much appreciated. And we will be back for another episode in 2 weeks. Thanks so much, everyone.
See
Bye.
ya.